He's got a council meeting tonight. No, it's because of you. Yeah. But it lowers the paper. Chief Epstein was about 220, and we lived in the hospital. Probably just was down there, chief wanted something to be 85. Three mentally so you lose power. The valves are computer controlled. And the only thing on it is off the engine red, fuel pump, water, everything else is the next generation. Water pump, filtration.
Hey Dave. Hey, Rick, you have a thought.
Good start.
Okay, the September 14th meeting of the Gardner Airport Association will now come to order. Please rise and join me in the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item is public comment. Do we have anyone from the public that would like to make a comment? Please come up and state your name so we can get that for the record.
Paul Willey, Gardner Communities. First of all, thanks for everything you guys do. And I would like to know, can I get a copy of the, I don't know what you call them, if they have a association bylaws or operating rules, the procedures you guys follow in respect to operation of the board? Is there any such thing?
We have bylaws.
May I get a copy of that?
You certainly can, as far as I'm concerned.
And that would actually be probably an open records request.
Okay.
And then goes through Jeannie, our city clerk, but yeah,
But I've never have seen any, I'm just kinda curious about it. And then I had noticed, on the agenda, you were going to, on your discussion items, excuse me, not on the agenda, but on, discussion item number 1, when they talked about the council meeting, I guess you're gonna address, if you know, what the city wants to do in respect to, these items that they listed here, 1 through 3 in the council meeting?
I don't think I know yet, but Brian's gonna address those.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to those this evening.
Okay, and can you consider my request here, or do I need to go to the clerk on that?
Probably the best thing to actually, I'll let Jeannie know that you'll be contacting her.
Okay, and I put my name and number on that.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? If there's none other public comments, we will go on to the first, item of business, and that is the approval of the minutes of the August 10th meeting. I assume everybody's read them, and I need a motion to approve.
I move to be approved.
Okay, second? Any further discussion? Then all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. None opposed? The minutes are approved. The next item is new business, and we'll start with the financials, which I have, and I've given the board a copy. We have 2 bank accounts. The first one you'll see is the Gardner, we call it Gardner National, that's Gardner Bank. And we have $88,753.03 in that account. And that pretty much stays that way because that's where all of the receipts from fuel sales go. And so is there any questions on that account? Seeing none, I'll go on to the one where we do most of our business. That's the Metcalf Bank. We have $121,194.19 in that, and I'll highlight items that are unusual that we had, or that are just once a year that we paid this month. And one of them was Berkeley Wrist, and that was our, help me out here, workman's comp for the year. It's $1,002. And the next thing down here was, we paid for the 100 low lead fuel that we got this month, and that was Winger Oil, and that was $27,540.49. That was 7,500 gallons of fuel, 100 low lead. And then the third item, that's the yearly expense is to MJH Insurance, and it's $11,876, and that is the insurance on all of our hangars and buildings and out there at the airport. That is not the liability. It comes due, I think, right after the first of the year. Other than that, the only other thing is we had an $856 to Trail West Hardware, and that was for the K-31 to receive the runway. So is there any other questions with that from the board? Seeing none, I guess I'm looking for a motion to accept the financial.
Motion accept.
Okay. That was Ray, second?
Second.
Dale, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, raise your right hand. Okay. That's all of us, so there's no opposing there. Okay, now we're ready for number 1 discussion item, which is the update from the September 8th City Council work session.
Actually, today we got new business item number 2. To make, review and make recommendation to the City Council on the DBE goal. So I think that was the second new business item.
Second item is that, first item is the update. Do you want to do
Yeah,
that?
well, actually, I got 2 items on new business, and then we go discussion. We got the agenda there.
Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry. Yeah, item 2 is the review and make recommendations to the City Council on the DBE goal.
The FAA does require cities to adopt a DBE program, and DBE stands for Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. And we're required to adopt a program if FAA participation is anticipated for airport improvement contracts that will exceed $250,000 within the next 3 years. This is not a new program, and the City Council would have signed a similar DBE program for the previous reporting period. Subject to FAA funding availability, 2 projects with construction costs that exceed the threshold are anticipated in the programming period. In 2006 and 2017, we show land acquisition for the airport. H.W. Lochner did prepare the DBE program for the city in accordance with FAA requirements. The program does establish an overall goal of 5.86% of contract cost. The program does designate the city engineer as the liaison officer who is responsible for implementation and compliance of the program. A notice was published in the Kansas Register and the Gardner News in July of 2005 that advised the public of a 45-day review and comment period for the program. No comments were received. And I've attached to what you guys have, this is out the front of the Lochner report. And the Lochner report actually looks like this. It's bound. It's a very large volume of basically boilerplate forms that they've gone in. They use this for all the cities, and anytime they do it, they just substitute in Gardner for the name of the city. And what we're asking tonight, I know you guys haven't had a chance to read through that. And we can definitely table this until the next meeting if you would like to have a chance to go through it. We do take this before the City Council. Right now we have it scheduled for the second meeting in October. So if you'd like to have a chance to go through it and talk about it at the next meeting in October before you make a recommendation to council, you're welcome to.
I guess this is something we gotta have.
That is correct.
So, I mean, what's the discussion except?
Only if you guys wanted a chance to read through it. I mean, it's the same that we've used in the past. Like I said, it's pretty boilerplate. It has all the forms that FAA requires to have in it.
So the long and the short of this is we pay somebody 5% for some reason here?
Well, what this is, and I'm not sure how much Lochner was paid to generate this, but that's part of their contract, and in the future it'll be part of PEC's contract, is to every 3 years in that funding cycle to make sure the city does have an approved DBE program established for the federal grants.
Is that something that we get federal participation in?
That's actually a question I don't know. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
But it's 5% of the project.
Well, there's a I mean, as far as a cost or as far as a goal. They have a goal written in it that we're trying to use 5.86% of the cost associated with the contract would be from a disadvantaged business enterprise. And there's a process we go through to notify those that are eligible for that.
Oh, I see. So it's not that we pay 5%, it's that the...
Right, when you get federal monies, there's a requirement that you try to obtain some disadvantaged business enterprises to help with the project, and so there's a goal set. Some projects, I mean, you can have a goal, but I mean, you won't have any disadvantaged businesses associated with it, but the goal is to try to get that participation.
Well, what's a disadvantaged business?
Actually, where I used to work, we called them MeBe-Weebies. It's minority businesses enterprises and women business enterprises.
Right.
They're considered disadvantaged business enterprises.
So, okay. Anybody have any other questions on this?
Yeah, we had to do that over New Century on our hangar over there. We had to use that. That was our first bidders. We had to consider that.
And basically what this says, council signs, if they agree with it, but we'd like to take a recommendation to the council from the board on, whether you would, recommend that the city manager, or the city council authorize the city administrator to sign the City of Gardner's Disadvantaged Business Enterprises Program for FAA-funded projects at Gardner Municipal Airport in fiscal years 2016 through 2018.
We're gonna have to do that, continue on, guys. Do we have a motion to recommend this to the city council?
I'll make a motion that we do so.
Okay.
We submit it to the city.
Second?
Second.
Do we have any further discussion? Ray, you okay with it? Yep. All in favor, raise your right hand.
They're better equipped to do it than we are.
Yeah.
And it looks like it only really kicks in if we're gonna do more than $250,000 in FAA contracts per year, which other than buying a house, property, which really.
Right, that's only where it comes into play.
So it's gonna be when we get ready to do the runways and the beginning where
Correct.
it will kick in.
Okay, so that takes care of item 2 on new business. Now we're ready for you on item 1, on discussion items.
Item number 1 on the discussion is an update from the September 8, 2015 City Council work session and regularly scheduled council meeting. During the work session on September 8th, the council discussed the city's vision for Gardner Airport. 4 options were presented by staff, and we've included a copy of our brief sheet that we gave to council in your packet. And we've also provided you a copy of the PowerPoint that we presented to council. The summary of the options are: option 1 was to close the airport. Option 2 was leave the airport as is. Option 3 would be to be more aggressive in making upgrades to the airport and in marketing the airport to attract restaurants and possibly a small business park. Option 4 was to be much more aggressive, transition away from recreational flyers and go for business and corporate interests, similar to the other 2 airports within Johnson County. After discussion between council and several board members, council indicated that they were looking at something between options 2 and 3. Both a restaurant and possible housing development that caters to flyers were both identified as desired. The work session ended at that point. Now, near the conclusion of the regularly scheduled council meeting that followed the work session, the council went into an executive session. From the council meeting, the council entered into an executive session pursuant to KSA 75-4319B2 to discuss matters related to the Gardner Municipal Airport covered under attorney-client privilege. After returning from the executive session, there was no action taken. However, the council came to a consensus and directed staff to prepare the following for action on September 21st. Provide 90-day written notice to the Gardner Airport Association to terminate the lease agreement. Provide administrative services to the city, including finance and accounting, and replace the airport board with an airport advisory board. Again, no action was taken. Staff is preparing these items for possible actions during the September 21st council meeting. And feel free to ask me any questions.
What's with the 90-day lease? What does it mean for that?
Actually, in the bylaws for the Gardner Airport Association, if the city desires to, or either party desires to terminate the lease, there's a 90-day written notice required.
Okay, so this is coming up on the 21st, and if they approve this, then they will be taking over the administrative services. I assume that means collecting the rent and paying the bill.
That is correct.
Do you have any this? Are they gonna use our system that we have? Or-
And that's what's, with the 90 days notice, I mean, there's gonna be a transition period through the end. Assuming the council takes action on the 21st of September, there would be a transition period through the end of the year, where you guys would continue to do what you're doing as far as collecting payments and doing those things. We would transition over to the city, and city staff doing that. But I doubt we would use the same system that you have. I think we'd probably be using our same, kind of like our utility billing system that we have now.
So that means the, money and everything will go into the general fund then, and,
Actually, they would probably create an enterprise fund associated with the airport. I would say it does not go to general fund, is it? So I've got Nancy in the back from the finance department. It would go into an enterprise fund for the airport.
everybody has to realize that there's some of these that they need to pay, like when they get a load of fuel, these people, they want money in that, right, within what, 10 days or something like that, and,
We've always paid them in 3 or 4 days.
And that's, you know, again, assuming the council takes the action on the 21st, that's something over the next 3 months that we'd work with you guys on to, you know, we want to make sure that, we need to purchase fuel, and it's paid on time. Insurance, you mentioned after the first of the year, I mean, those types of things, we want the transition to be as smooth as possible.
Still trying to figure out what's the 90 days, after the 90 days, if they decide to revoke that lease, what is the lease entail? I mean, is it all the functions of what the airport board is already doing?
I think it'd be kind of a combination of things. One would be the city would take over administrative services of it, and the board would transition to an advisory board to advise the council on action to take. The day-to-day operations would continue, it'd be pretty much under the Public Works Department.
quick question on that, with the board we have now, is, the people the renters out there, if they got a hangar door stuck on a Sunday afternoon, they'll call one of us, we come out and fix it at that time, and, is the city gonna be able to do that?
That's something that we'll have to work out. I mean, this is new to us too, and we want to provide the same level of service that you're currently providing. So,
What I worry about most about this is I know that the city's gonna take this over with, if they take it over, they'll have paid employees. And so I'm suspicioning that will come out of the airport account that we have, and, which would not, we wouldn't be able to continue doing the improvements we have out there if we get strapped with a bunch of additional overhead. And that's been the beauty of the whole operation here, is we've had volunteer people doing a lot of work out there for nothing, for the benefit of the airport.
And some of those people are hangar tenants out there, we have people with all professions, pretty much. If we need a welder, the guy comes out and he'll take care of it, and don't charge the airport anything, electrician, same thing,
So from my perspective, I mean, I'd like it to operate, you know, very similar to how it does now. But I think that's something that we'll figure out in the next 3 months. So there's things I didn't know about. I mean, just what you mentioned right now.
I mean, I can't speak for the rest of the board, but I, for one, would be willing to help with whatever they decide to do. Because I've been involved in the airport for many years, and I want to see the airport try to progress as best it can. So, I hope that they, don't strap the airport to the point where they can't make the improvements, continue on the improvements that we've been.
But I think you have based on the work session discussion, I think council wants to accelerate, improvements. I mean, to the runways, to, you know, possibly additional hangars a little bit ahead of your current schedule. They want to market the area, like I said, for restaurants. I have one council member that has identified, you know, it'd be nice to have some higher-end homes in the area. So I think there's definitely an interest amongst council to make sure it doesn't slow down, that it actually stays the same or increases in it when we do out there.
You know, the lay of the land is not going to be real friendly to putting in housing addition in around the runway,
Right.
the way the land lays right now.
You know, from our perspective, I mean, we look at the area kind of to your southeast, that little corner piece between Waverly and 56. I mean, that's a nice little tract for whether that's a business park or whatever would go in there. I wouldn't envision housing there. As you go further to the west, I know there's some oil wells kind of directly to the west of you, but there's a lot of agricultural property there. Still the very early stages.
Also, if they choose to take it over and do that too, and they'll fund this to get, hopefully they don't want to just put in nice to have things rather than things that are detrimental for the operation of the airport. And if they start doing that, they're gonna have to raise the hangar rent. And Lee Summit tried that a few years ago, and they ended up with a bunch of empty hangars, and they had to back off.
Well, and I think the council, I mean, using you know, good fiscal stewardship, wants to take advantage of any FAA grants we can get, and those are limited to making improvements to the runways, those types of things. And so, I mean, that's a 90-10, I believe. So that's something they're going to try to continue to do.
Okay. Any further comments on this? Seeing none, I guess we'll just, we'll wait to hear what happens on the 21st.
Correct.
I guess we've been fired from higher paying jobs than this.
And I will say the council, I mean, at the end of the work session was very complimentary of everything you guys have done. And I think there's, to a person, would like you guys to stay on in the next phase. Again, if they take action on the 21st.
Okay, I guess we're ready for item 2 on discussion.
Item 2 is actually status of the minimum standards for the Gardner Municipal Airport. Brad came and talked about those at the last meeting. We did make the change, requested as far as skydiving hours and days. We forwarded that to our city attorney for review, the entire document. He came back with a number of comments, you know, as he looked at it from a different point of view. We forwarded it back to PEC, and they are currently addressing those comments. But at the moment, once those are addressed, we were quite honestly going to be on hold until after September 21st, because a lot of the language in there deals with the airport board or staff being a liaison between the board and the city, and so we want to see what action happens on the 21st. But when whatever action occurs, we'll pick it back up, and we want to go ahead and get those minimum standards in as soon as we can. Yeah, guys, have any questions on this?
Well, I guess not, we've gone through that for several months.
Right.
Next item is hangar rental.
One thing that you have in your packet, we had some on the back table for the public too, was actually a map. I would like you guys, if you could, to look through this. We actually took what you guys have done and overlaid it on an aerial photograph of the airport, and we pulled out all the hangars and identified the numbering system for you guys. Would like you, it's just a discussion item, but if you guys could look through it and make sure that what we did is correct.
Well, I got these two mixed around, green and red on the far right.
Those should be flipped?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
That's why we got it here tonight before you. And just like I said, over the next few days, if you guys have a chance to look good, just let me know any comments you have on it. If you'd like this presented differently, we can do that. If we've got the numbering system wrong, definitely let us know. And then you got the tie downs there also. Is there other things that we need to number out there?
Yeah, we're just trying to get a handle on the trailer parking on the far, just over by hangar number 40. Where they park the trailers. Okay.
Like I said, just give me a call or give me a note or something, or let me know what else you see on here as we go forward.
On that trailer parking, there's not designated any particular number because those guys come and go as the season permits, and some of them take theirs home and bring them back, and so this is kind of a revolving, parking area down there.
Okay, and that's outside of,
That's down by hangar 40 on the west side.
okay.
You can see them down there in the picture.
Yeah, just on the very edge of the paper there? Yeah.
But the main thing is, yeah, you do have, the two, big hangars, reversed on numbers.
Okay. You're close.
That's because they probably thought extended that way logically.
Now, on the trailer parking, is that, I guess I'm not familiar with that. Is that for people that have planes out there, or?
Sail planes.
Gliders, they fold them up, put them in a trailer,
Okay.
storage. After they
Well, they're on the far west end there.
right off the hangar 40.
Right now on the, hangar 11 there, that ramp that sits to the west of it, there's two sailplanes that are tied down there. During the summer months, winter, they they take them apart and put them in the hangar somewhere at night, for the winter.
Okay. What about in the asphalt area just south of your main terminal there? Like this photo shows 4 aircraft there. Is that a?
That was the flight school's ramp, and when they were in business, they collected the rent off of those tie downs, and it was part of their agreement.
Okay. You guys do something there now? Is that?
There's,
No, we really don't.
Okay.
right now, it's just transit parking there, all being used.
Kind of general ramp area.
That one airplane by the gas pump is probably just going for fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back down there.
Again, we'll make the revisions on the 2 hangars. Is that the 60s and the green and the red on the right?
Right.
Those that just need to be flipped? Okay.
Yeah, I'll validate some of those numbers.
Okay.
I don't know what else you want to put on there. Were you just concerned with the hangars, or were you concerned with rental property as a whole?
Well, this one in itself, we're looking at, basically trying to get a feel for what the hangars are.
Okay.
But ultimately, we'll need to know, any sort of rental that you have out there.
Yeah, and that one hangar there, where there's one airplane sitting there at the south side of it, there, back next to what you call 61 hangar there.
Yeah.
That's the, experimental aircraft's, hangar there. They lease the ground for the hangar.
Actually, you got 61 on 2 of them.
Yeah. Well,
Do, don't they?
calling that extension 61, but it's actually,
Oh, you did the same for the 79 ones as well.
it's a storage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the smaller one, that's just a storage area, right? On both of those 69?
Yeah,
and-
some we're getting paid for, and some they've, for special purpose.
Airport uses.
Okay.
Okay, we can go on to past dues. The whole board's been working with different people, going through their rental, going through their statements and I think we're making progress. Does anybody have anything to add on that? And also Ray's been working real hard at taking care of any discrepancies we have in our receivables. And he stepped in and has been helping really quite well with us getting that done. Do you have any questions on the overdues?
Well, you guys are working through it, like I said, again, depending on what council does on the 21st, we've actually created a little spreadsheet that shows all the hangar numbers and all the people that rent, through there, just so it can be tracked from my perspective.
I suspect in the next couple of months, we're gonna have to make a decision on at least one hangar, on what we wanna do with it. We got quite a bit behind. One option, I think, would be to probably put a mechanics lien on the airplane. Those are things that we do in the aircraft world, and ensure that we'll get payment someday.
Right now, he's throwing in a half a month payment extra on his check every month so far for the last about 3 months.
Good to help catch up. And I know that last time you'd mentioned it'd be nice to be able to take Visa.
Yes.
And just, if we transition into this, city definitely can accept a Visa payment as, as well as a check. We've talked about, again, if action goes forward, but honestly, even if it doesn't, possibly creating a drop box where people can actually put in their rent payments.
Price judge.
Actually, we thought about putting one out at the airport. I figure a lot of people will be out there.
Okay. Airfield and grounds. Well, I know that Jim has rented the cedar from the county, and he's seeded the runway. Yeah.
Last Wednesday.
Yeah. Anything, other comments on that, Jim?
We went in real nice. We got 4.5 inches of rain on it. Like I had it gathered around a little bit more.
Yeah.
I checked it today and it's been moist to see it.
Do we have any other problems with the grounds around there? I know you're keeping it mowed up nice, so.
What about the ground that they're working on down there now? Are we gonna continue to mow that, on that, Sizemore acres, or what? Are they
Yes.
gonna reseed that?
Yep, we'll.
That-
They should reseed it
Yeah.
when they're done.
That's actually part of the contract.
Yeah.
The house is gone. I came in this morning and it was
Really?
there, and by this afternoon it was gone. And so they'll also be working on the other structures, the fence and the trees, to clear that property, and they are required to reseed it, and get that established when they're done.
Yeah, I did get down there today, the house is going now.
Well, actually, one of the gentlemen that lives, 2 doors down works for the city.
Mike?
Yeah, and he came by this afternoon about 5 o'clock, and I mentioned that they had the truck out there, the Traco, and they had the silt fence up, and that was about 7:30 this morning. It looks like they're ready to go. And he said, "It's gone."
Yeah, yesterday I was over there and they just had the siding, the asbestos siding off of them.
Yeah, they got the asbestos remediation done last week.
What about the cistern? Is that a big deal? I read something about that.
Actually, I'm not sure what they do whether to fill that in with sand or rock or whatever they do on that. It'd be in the contract.
Yeah, okay. The fuel farm. We are still fighting with, trying to make our 91 octane fuel work. I am not sure exactly where we are right now, but we're thinking that maybe when we're trying to suck the fuel out of the ground, we're thinking that we might have a problem because of the winter grade fuel that was put in there is higher in what? Probably butane, and when it gets warm, when we're trying to suck fuel out of the ground, this thing's bubbling up and we're getting not air bubbles, I guess, but it's
Vapor bubbles.
Vapor bubbles, and we're thinking that may be what our real problem is that we're having now. Our pump was definitely bad, but the other problem, or the other, I'd say a problem, but we have tanks that have pumps at the tank. This is old style. Now, most stations and whatever have pumps in the tank, and so they're not pulling fuel, they're pushing. And so we're trying to pull a vacuum and pull fuel out, and they would be pushing it out of the tank, which would be different. But we're not really sure where we stand there, but the long and the short is we've done a lot of work out there, and we've replaced a lot of piping and whatever, and we're still having trouble.
How many gallons is in that tank currently, would you say?
About 3,000, isn't it? Yeah. And
Is this something that you just, I mean, just at this point, have someone come in and just suck it out and?
well, we're probably getting about down to that. Our fuel supplier took samples of it, and he was supposed to get back with me today on what the level of the winter additive was. It's supposed to be in the winter at about a spot of 15, and I don't know what that 15 units or what, I don't know what that is. And in the summer it's 9. And so he called Friday, and I said, I want to know what number it is that's in there, because I think anybody that's tried to draw fuel out of that this summer is having trouble with vapor locking, and I'm just thinking that maybe it's above the 15. And I guess I'm surprised that that our fuel experts didn't know more about this, or people that were putting in the tank or the pump and our suppliers. But and I don't know if this is something that's changed over the last few years, with the fuel itself, on how they refine it or what. But anyway, it's been a real mess out there this summer because of that, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it.
With the old tank style, there's a way, can you put a pump in the bottom? You mentioned, instead of trying to pull it or pry
Well, I
it and
think
suck
you
it
can do
out,
that.
is there,
In
can you
fact, right
retrofit
now,
it?
it's opened up, so, but we,
Yeah, we're looking at it as an option, if that's the way we have to go.
So,
Did you find out from them, did we get any kind of idea of whether pricing to go that route was gonna?
oh, I don't know what the price, no, we haven't got that far.
Make a full all this?
Nobody's got to that point yet.
The only problem I have, if we change system to where we can pump that fuel in the airplane has a suction system, and then they're gonna vapor lock, and we're gonna be up for a lawsuit out here when the airplane crashes in the field.
Let's wait for the results of the fuel test.
Yeah, we gotta know what the fuel test is, because the fuel is actually STC to be used, but it needs to meet certain criteria, and so we just need to make sure it's meet. Actually, on another note on fuel tanks, I got a letter from the city here a couple of weeks ago about, not the city, the state, about the possibility of them helping us with new style underground tanks, and that this is some kind of there's so much money available through 2020 if a person wants to upgrade tanks. And so I asked Peter if he would do a little research on it. Since he's I think his position is kind of like the city of, what city is he working?
Edwardsville.
Huh?
Edwardsville.
Edwardsville.
He's
So,
Public Works Director.
so he was gonna look into that for us
Okay.
and see what that meant to us. Our tanks are old, we did have them relined, it's been quite a few years now, so, but someday we're gonna have to address that.
You got just underground, or you got it above ground too?
Underground.
Just underground.
Two underground tanks.
Yeah, they're two 10,000-gallon tanks that are underground there. That's all I know about the fuel farm. How about Jim, Dale? You guys are out there.
They've changed that, suction system, I think, 5 times. Trying different methods, and they get the same method each time. So evidently, it's the vapor rather,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I assume it's the vapor rather than the tank.
And they even took the pump off of the 100 low lead that we did over there, and it wouldn't
Work
go either,
either.
so.
If you shut the pump off, and, an hour later, there's still vapor bubbles coming up through the line.
Yeah, the 100 low lead doesn't have a winter blend.
No.
It's stable.
It's a much more stable fuel. I would never use anything but 100 low lead in anything I fly. Other business. I have a couple of things that just kind of came up, and one of them was Peter, our other member. He has, his council meetings are on Monday night. I don't know if it's every Monday or the second Monday, but he was asking if we would mind changing our meeting. Otherwise, he's afraid he's not gonna be able to keep attendance at our meetings, and so I put, let the board think about that, and I don't know whether there'd be another night that would work for the board, or whether we'd wanna change it or not. We used to have it on the first Monday many years ago, and I think that was council meeting.
Yeah, council meetings right now are the first and third Mondays of each month.
So the only, I don't know about another night, second Tuesday or something like that, or the first Tuesday. No, it can't be the first, can't be for me, because I'm on the Miami County Planning Commission, and it's the first Tuesday.
Well, if you guys can give me some days that work for you, we can definitely look at what the options are.
Okay.
Each Tuesday would work for me. I'm out on Mondays.
I'm fine with Tuesday as well.
You what?
I'm fine with Tuesdays. Is room still
Very
available?
flexible.
All right.
Is room still available Tuesdays?
That's actually the real challenge right now, is because the city council did create
This would have to be the second Tuesday.
5 advisory committees, from ADA to street, sidewalk, and stormwater, economic development, I think a citizen police advisory committee. There's 5 committees, and we're trying to find time to actually have meetings. The first Tuesday of the month is taken.
How about the second Tuesday?
We'll certainly look at that.
Okay. Well, we wouldn't want to, but we could always go back to the airport. Okay, second item I had was, I've got a call from Tiffany, I think, of KDOT, and I guess that's a she, and she's gonna they wanna come out to the airport in the morning. The state, they come out every year or two and inspect the airport, and they wanna be there in the morning.
Tomorrow?
Yeah, are you gonna be available?
Yeah.
Okay. This is her.
TSA,
Tiffany, I think is her name, or something,
she's with the, I think.
KDOT.
She probably, I think that's the one that came last year for the inspection.
What is it they wanna do?
Well, we gotta have a sign up there that says that we, check people as they walk across the ramp, and,
Well, that's a TSA. This is KDOT here.
Oh, KDOT,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I don't know what you want to.
Right, she just wants to look at the airport.
Is that an annual?
Annual or every 2 years, they come by and they'll, oh, yeah, that's nice, you got a nice runway here and, and
It's not a inspect every hangar kind
oh,
of
no,
deal.
no.
TSA's been hitting us about twice a year.
Really?
And, the other thing, for Jim is I have the check you needed to pay Public Works, the $80 for the rental on the, speeder.
Pick that up tomorrow.
Yeah, so, that's all I have. Any of you guys have anything else? Do you have anything else, Brian?
No, I don't. Thank you guys for attending Monday or Tuesday night for the work session. Felt the work session is some very good discussion. From our perspective, optimistic about the future of the airport.
That sounds good. That part. Don't know about the rest of it. Okay, then with nothing else, we'll adjourn.
Vote on that?
What's that?
Want to vote on that?
We need to vote. Yes, we should, yeah. You guys all right?
Undo it, 2 taps, undo it.
Two taps, okay, undo that. Okay, motion for adjournment. Ray? All versus? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
There, now we're adjourned.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think the guys are gonna be there tomorrow all day too, or supposedly surveying the third zone.
Well, there's two things, there's the bylaws.
And also adopting and trying to amend the standards for operation of the airport. And that is very drafts.
How much we're gonna be able to go, huh?